Hateful and Rarity Dash here. Time for another Patreon-sponsored blind reaction. And this one comes to you courtesy of Michael French, who has requested that I react to the first half of John Mulaney's New in Town. So yeah, this is another stand-up comedy special, much like the Bo Burnham one that I reacted to before, which I guess proved to be pretty inspirational for Patreon requesters, or at least this one, because I don't know if this would have been requested otherwise. It has to start somewhere. But typically, so far, when something gets requested, there's a pretty good chance that more of it will get requested, and by more people. That seems to be how it goes so far. That's how it went with like music albums, and with certain content creators, and just with a lot of stuff. So I'm not surprised to see that now stand-up, we have more people requesting that, and maybe it'll be even more down the line. I'm certainly fine with doing it, but much like the Bo Burnham one, I had to split this one in half because these things tend to be around an hour, and that's over my limit for Patreon requests, so it ends up being 2 requests as opposed to 1, as I have to, slice it down the middle. But we're doing the first half now, second half next month, and it's John Mulaney's New in Town. I don't really know John Mulaney. I may have heard the name before, but I'm not even sure. I definitely cannot place it. So I have very little idea what to expect here, but hopefully it'll be funny. Hopefully it'll be good. Let's get started and find out. Here we go. Alright, Comedy Central. Okay. I see. He's successful and he's got some really crazy friends. Whoa, very sitcom here.
New in Town is filmed in front of a live studio.
Very 80s sitcom.
How are you? Thank you. That's very nice of you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's so nice of you. I hope you're having a good week. Thank you for being here. I'm doing well myself. In a couple days, I'm going to turn 29 years old, and I'm very excited about that. I was hoping by now that I would look older, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, you do look,
I don't look older,
younger than that.
I just look worse, I think.
Wow.
Honestly, when I'm walking down the street, no one's ever like, hey, look at that man. I think they're just like, whoa, that tall child looks terrible. Get some rest, tall child. You can't keep burning the candle at both ends. You ever seen on America's Most Wanted when they age a photo of someone? Just take my kindergarten photo and yellow the teeth and put bags under the eyes and be like, this is what he would look like now.
Mm-hmm.
I was a very nervous kid. I was anxious all the time when I was younger. But what's nice is that some of the things I was anxious about don't bother me at all anymore.
Okay.
Like, I always thought that quicksand was going to be a much bigger problem than it's
Yeah, that is emphasized.
Because if you watch cartoons, quicksand is like the third biggest thing you have to worry about in adult
Cartoons,
life. Behind
movies.
Real sticks of dynamite and giant anvils falling on you from the sky.
Yeah.
I used to sit around and think about what to do about quicksand. I never thought about how to handle real problems in adult life. I was never like, oh, what's it going to be like when relatives ask to borrow money? Not only have I never stepped in quicksand, I've never even heard about it. No one's ever been like, hey, if you're coming to visit, take I-90, because I-95 has a little quicksand in the middle.
Yeah.
Looks like regular sand, but then you're going to start to sink into it.
He's got a point.
I had a good family. I have wonderful parents. A lot of guys my age, I'll hear them say this. They go, every day I think I'm becoming more like my dad. I think I'm becoming more like my mom. Because I was watching that show, Access Hollywood, and one of the reporters said, up next, we have an exclusive interview with Sandra Bullock's former husband, Jesse James.
Oh.
And out loud, I went, ugh, this ought to be good. That's pure mom. My parents are both lawyers. They are both lawyers. And sometimes they would be like lawyers with us when we were kids. I remember one time I was in bed, and my dad came in, and he said, good night, John. Did you brush your teeth? And I said, yes. But here's the thing. I hadn't. But who cares? I didn't have like a job interview or anything. So my dad comes back in a couple minutes holding my toothbrush. He says, John, is this your toothbrush? And I said, yes. And he said, so we agree that this is your toothbrush. Then he said, John, this toothbrush is bone dry. Like he looked down and he said, bone dry. He said, you
Pretty
lied
good
to me."
evidence.
I said, Dad, I did not lie. I said that I brushed my teeth. I never specified that I brushed my teeth tonight. And if the court reporter reads back my remarks, I did not perjure myself. My mom's also a lawyer. She was a different kind of lawyer with us when we were kids. My mom was more like Nancy Grace. She would just make wild accusations all day long.
Okay.
And wait for something to stick. My mom would blame me for things that happened on the news. That is true. I woke up one morning when I was a kid and my mom was standing over my bed and she said, I just heard that Princess Diana and her lover, Dodi Al-Fayed, have been killed in Paris. Like I had something to do with it. I was like, Mom, I have been here all night. You can feel the TV, it's warm. Luckily, I had a good alibi since I was in Wisconsin and 12. My brothers and sisters and I had this babysitter named Veronica when we were kids, and I was in love with her.
Oh.
I was in love with Veronica. She would babysit us on Saturday nights. And in my head, when I was a little kid, I thought that Veronica was like 25, 30 years old. I was just talking to my mom the other week. I found out that when I was 10, Veronica was 13.
Oh.
So why was she in charge? All she could do was dial the telephone a little better than I could. 13 when I'm 10, that's just like hiring a slightly bigger child.
Yeah.
That would be like if you're going out of town for the week and you paid a horse to watch your dog. Like, all right, here is the number where we'll be, and here's where we keep the dog food, and you're a horse.
I think that would work.
Why do people do that? People always shush animals. They go, hey, shh, 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 shh. They've never spoken. I always wanted to live in New York when I was a kid. I'm so excited that I get to live in New York. I saw New York City in a movie when I was a kid. It was called Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. It is a sequel. Yeah, how about that movie? It was a sequel to the movie Home Alone.
Yeah?
I remember in that movie, the kid in Home Alone 2, he gets into a stretch limousine on 5th Avenue with a large cheese pizza, and I thought, this is the height of luxury! Now I live in New York, and I'm psyched, but that is a stupid movie title. Lost in New York, the streets are numbered. How'd you get lost in New York? I know it's kind of stupid to complain about a movie that came out 17 years ago, but I wasn't a comedian back then.
Wow.
So I have to do it now. I wish I'd been a Def Jam comic when that movie came out. I would have torn it to pieces. Be like, you seen this shit? You seen this Home Alone 2 Lost in New York shit? It's a grant system, motherfucker. Where you at? 24th and 5th? Where you want to go? 35th and 6th? 11 up and 1 over, you simple bitch. That'd be my big joke. That'd be the closer if I was a Def Jam comic when that movie came out. But alas, I was not. I think the
Are these
bullying
like commercial breaks?
that young people have to go through now in schools is really rough. I really sympathize because I was bullied when I was a kid. When I was in grade school,
Comedy Central.
I was bullied for being Asian American.
I see.
And the biggest problem with that is that I am not Asian American.
Yeah, yeah.
But when I was
I
younger,
can
and
tell.
this is absolutely true, people thought that I might be Asian American. I have pretty thin eyes. I had very thin eyes when I was a little kid, and I had straight black hair that I wore in a bowl cut.
Well,
From the ages of 3 to 8, people thought that I might be a young Chinese person. On the first day that he met me, the guy that is now my best friend, he met me the first day of kindergarten. He went home that night and said, Papa, today I met a boy with no eyes.
wow.
And that was me. Kids would make fun of me in middle school. Kids would call me a Chinaman, which of the racial slurs has got to be the laziest. That is just pushing 2 words together. No work was done there. It was very confusing to me because I'm not Chinese. No one in my family is remotely Asian. I mean, we take our shoes off when we come inside, but that was more of a carpeting thing than anything else. Here's how bad it got, though. I remember when I was in junior high, we had this music appreciation class that we never appreciated.
Okay.
They took us to hear some classical music once at a symphony orchestra. So we go to a symphony orchestra. In one of these classical pieces, there's a moment where they bang a gong. And every time they banged the gong, all the kids sitting in front of me would stand up, turn to me, and bow like that.
Wow.
Which is some racist-ass bullshit, but also incredibly well coordinated for a group of 13-year-olds. 13-year-olds are the meanest people in the world. They terrify me to this day. If I'm on the street on like a Friday at 3 p.m. and I see a group of 8th graders on one side of the street, I will cross to the other side of the street because 8th graders will make fun of you, but in an accurate way. They will get to the thing that you don't like about you. They don't even need to look at you for long. They'll just be like, ha, 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 ha. Hey, look at that high-waisted man. He got feminine hips. And I'm like, no, that's what I'm sensitive about. When I was a boy, I was also confused with a woman sometimes over the phone. Because before I went through puberty, I had a voice like a
Okay,
little
well, I
flute.
mean,
I was once on the telephone with Blockbuster Video, which is a very old-fashioned sentence.
yeah, that is.
It is. I was on the telephone with Blockbuster Video. They'd be like, we'd all go play jacks down at the soda fountain. You're like, no one knows what you're talking about, you idiot. You know how you talk to your grandma? So, I was on the phone with Blockbuster. I'd called them a couple of times in one day to ask about a movie. And I called for a third time. I said, hey, yeah, I was just calling to see if you had Addams Family Values yet. And the guy at Blockbuster was like, hey, lady, I'll tell you when we get Addams Family Values. But look, I wasn't offended as a boy being confused with a lady. I was offended as a lady who was getting pushed around by this chauvinist asshole that works at Blockbuster Video, talking to me like I'm some floozy. I am a proud Asian American woman. You treat me with respect. I am a tiger mom.
He's pretty funny.
Now when people make fun of me, I deserve it. I do. When people get mad at me now, it's my fault. Like when people get mad at me on the highway, that's all my bad. I'm a terrible driver. I know nothing about cars. I meant to learn about cars, and then I forgot. Nothing that I know can help you with your car ever, unless you're like, hey, I've got a flat tire. Does anyone here know a lot about The Cosby Show? And then you can be like, oh, perhaps I could be of some assistance. I'm one of the worst drivers I've ever seen, and I just want you all to know that if you're ever on the highway behind me, I hear you honking, and I also don't want me to be doing what I'm doing. I don't like that I'm in that lane either, and I sure would like to get out of it. I was on the highway in Texas recently, which was like a highway filled with 13-year-olds, and I was in the far left lane. And I was going in the far left lane, and then it turned into a U-turn only lane. And I started to make a U-turn, but then I panicked because I didn't want to make a U-turn. So I put the car in reverse and then merged right back up. The best thing about that was that after that, cars were pulling up and looking over to see who just did that piece of shit move. Expecting to see like a 100-year-old blind dog who's texting while driving and drinking a smoothie. Instead, they see a 28-year-old healthy man trying his best. It's wrong to make fun of people, you know, but it's so fun weird. Sometimes. I've written for some TV shows. I don't think anything's been cut out, though. And, you know, on a major TV show, you have to be careful about what you say about people because a lot of people can get offended, or so it has been explained to me.
Yeah.
I was once, I'll tell you this, I was writing for an awards show once, and I got into some trouble. I wrote a joke for this awards show that had the word midget in it. And someone from the network came down to our offices, and he said to me, hey, you can't put the word midget on TV. And I said, I sure would like to.
Wow.
And he said, no, midget is as bad as the N-word.
Is it?
First off, no.
I don't think it is.
No, it's not. Do you know how I know it's not, I said to him, is because we're saying the word midget, and we're not even saying what the N-word is.
Yeah.
If you're comparing the badness of two words and you won't even say one of them, that's the worst word. Also, I don't mean to gloss over what like little people have been through in this country, but you cannot compare the plight of midgets to African Americans. That is outrageous. Midgets were never enslaved, unless you count the Wonka factory.
Wow.
So we get into this argument, we're going back and forth. He goes, you can't put that word on TV. And I said, I want to. And he goes, if you put that word on TV, there could be a protest of midgets on this building. I said, promise?
Yeah. Kind of want to see that.
When would that be? I don't mean to complain about censorship at all, though, because as you probably have seen by now, you can basically say whatever you want on television. It's ridiculous. You can say anything you want. And if you don't believe me, you should watch a little program called Law and Order Special Victims Unit. Yeah.
Okay.
A show that I love, because on that show, you can say the grossest things you've ever heard in your life. No, you can't say, like, the F word. You can't say that on Special Victims Unit. But people walk around on SVU going like, looks like the victim had anal contusions. Looks like we found semen and fecal matter in the victim's ear canal.
Oh, God.
Those are two real things that I heard on Law and Order SVU at 3 in the afternoon. Both spoken by Ice-T. Ice-T is a detective with the Special Victims Unit. He handles New York's most sensitive cases. I love Ice-T on SVU. He is fantastic. He's awesome. What's so great about him is that he's been with the SVU for like 11 years now. But he still treats every case like it's his first in terms of total confusion. Sometimes they'll be in the middle of an investigation and Ice-T will be like, yo, you telling me this dude gets off on little girls with pigtails?
Wow.
It's like, yeah, Ice. He's a pedophile. You work in the sex crimes division. You're gonna have to get used to that. You know how they try and tie in like current events to every episode of SVU? So there was this episode I saw a while ago that was about sex addiction, because a lot of celebrities had come out as sex addicts. So the episode's about sex addiction. There is a scene in the episode where the other detectives are trying to teach Ice-T what sex addiction is. And it takes a couple of minutes. And finally, Ice-T gets it, and they cut to him in this close-up, and he goes, oh, I get it. You mean like when someone drinks too much, or snorts cocaine, or bets the house on the ponies? And I was like, yeah, you got it, man. And I was psyched that Ice-T understood, so that they could continue with the investigation. But I could have watched another 4 hours of Ice-T just naming examples. Just that close up. And Ice-T like when someone smokes too many cigarettes. Or like when someone shops too much with credit cards. Or like when someone plays too many scratchy lotteries. Or like when someone eats too much chocolate cake. Or like when someone eats too much chocolate cake and then barfs it up.
Oh.
And he would just keep talking, and it would slowly fade out and say executive producer Dick Wolf. That'd be my ideal episode. That'd be a good one.
Sounds pretty good to me.
I saw this SVU a little while ago. I saw this episode of SVU, and Dean Cain was a rapist on the show.
Yeah.
And there was a scene where they do a lineup with Dean Cain and 4 other guys. And they bring in this woman who's going to look at the lineup. And it's her behind the glass. And they open the curtain. And she's standing with the 2 other detectives. And I knew she wasn't going to say this. But part of me was hoping she would just be like, is that Dean Cain? Fucking Dean Cain? It's pretty cool. I also watched this show called Cold Case Files. On Cold Case Files, they solve old murders. And it's really interesting, because what I learned from it is that it was really easy to get away with murder before they knew about DNA.
Yeah.
It was ridiculously easy. Like, what was even going on back then? What was a murder investigation like in 1935? One cop would just walk in and be like, detective, we found a pool of the killer's blood in that hallway. And he would just be like, gross. Moving it. Now then, back to my hunch. Look for clues. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll draw chalk around where the body is. That way we'll know where it was. A couple of years ago, I saw this movie called Public Enemies with Johnny Depp. It was about old bank robbers and stuff. Here's how easy it was to get away with bank robbery back in the 30s. As long as you weren't still there when the police arrived, you had a 99% chance of getting away with it. To the point that, like, those old bank robbers, they take credit for the bank robberies. Like, they come running out of there and they're like, ha ha ha! And if anyone asks you, tell them it was Golden Joe and the Suggins gang. And then they, like, shoot Suggins into the side of the wall. It's like, what, were bullets free back then? And they don't even disguise themselves. They dress up for the bank robbery. They're rolling in there in, like, big suits and hats like they're going to church in Atlanta. They make a day of it. I don't know about that. Oh, good, it has a mind of its own. That's very reassuring. No. I don't like robots thinking of things. Hope you don't mind that I dressed up. It was my first communion today, so I decided to come right from it. It's a very good first communicant. Thank you for coming to this show, by the way. I really do appreciate you coming to a thing because you didn't have to. And it's really easy not to go to things. It is so much easier not to do things than to do them that you would do anything is totally remarkable. Percentage-wise, it is 100% easier not to do things than to do them. And so much fun not to do them, especially when you were supposed to do them. In terms of, like, instant relief, canceling plans is like heroin. It is an amazing feeling. Such instant joy. Kids don't like that. Kids always want to do stuff. Kids get angry. They go, oh, we didn't do anything all day. But you ever ask an adult what they did over the weekend and they say they didn't do anything? Their faces light up. You're like, what'd you do this weekend? I did nothing. I did nothing at all. Did we do anything? No, I didn't do anything. People especially don't want to do their jobs. I've found that out recently, too. I have a friend named Megan. She's an elementary school teacher, and I was out with her one night, and she was drinking like a monster. And I said to her, don't you have to do a shift at school tomorrow? And she went, I'll just show a video. And I was like, that's why teachers show videos?
I mean, I believe that, too. That makes sense.
She said this. She goes, yeah, I don't want to work. And I was like, the kids don't want to work either. And she was like, good.
Wow. Sounds like a great teacher.
I really do. I was psyched to do it in New York. I'm really happy to live here and was glad that we could do it in New York City. And I'm not sure how you all got here tonight, but I did want to say this. I've never been killed by hitmen, so I don't know what it's like in the moments just before you're killed by hitmen. But I bet it's not unlike when you're on the subway and you realize that a mariachi band is about to start playing.
Wow.
Just that brief moment where you're reading and you're like, oh, a guitar player. Oh, another guitar player. Oh, an accordion player. Oh, no. This is the loudest thing in the world. I was really excited. A lot of people showed up. They told me that it was a big theater, and I thought that no one would come, so thank you for coming. I wanted to, like, take ads out in the paper or, like, be, do something to a tot so I get in the New York Post or something. The New York Post is my favorite newspaper. I think it's great. I read it every day. I like reading the New York Post because reading the New York Post is like talking to someone who heard the news, and now they're trying to give you the gist. It's like you get the same amount of information if you grab someone on the street and you were like, what happened today? And they're like, it's a perv in Queens. You'd be like, all right, thank you. Or rather, it's like someone read a better newspaper and now they're trying to text you everything they can remember. Doesn't have to be right, just has to be short. I really do love the Post. I read it a lot, and there's a hierarchy in the New York Post. Different people that they like and different people that they don't like. And if you pay attention, you can start to identify some of the New York Post rankings that they have. The number one thing that you can be in the eyes of the New York Post is an angel. An angel is a child who has died. That is the best thing that you can be in the eyes of the New York Post. The less amount of time you live, the better in the eyes of the Post. After that, under an angel is a hero. A hero is any man who does his job.
Wow.
You'll a lot of times see headlines that are like, hero tutor teaches after school. And you're like, yeah. Down towards the bottom of the spectrum, there are pervs. Pervs touch tots. Tots are angels who haven't died yet. There are no children in the eyes of the New York Post. You're either a tot or you're dead and you're an angel. I did leave one out, sorry. Above perv is a bozo. A bozo is any man who cheats on his wife. That guy's a bozo. I remember seeing a headline when Tiger Woods cheated on his wife, and it says, Tiger says he's sorry, but Elin says, beat it, bozo. No, she did not.
I wouldn't think so.
She is from another country. And even if she was from this country, no one has said bozo in 1,000 years. Who was your source on that, New York Post? Some tiny old lady that chain smokes all day long. They met her in a parking garage, and they were like, Madge, give us the scoop. What did Elin say to Tiger? She told him to beat it, bozo. I'm feeling good tonight, though. I got a massage recently. Went to a spa to get a massage. I went into the room to get the massage, and the woman there told me to undress to my comfort level.
Oh.
Those were her words. She said, I'm going to leave the room. You undress to your comfort level. So I put on a sweater and a pair of corduroy pants, and I felt safe. I'm trying to, in general, take better care of myself. I'm trying to stop smoking. I've smoked since I was 13 years old. I started when I was 13 years old because I stole 2 cigarettes from my older sister, and I hid them in a shoebox under my bed with a copy of Cosmopolitan magazine. And one day, my mom cleaned under my bed, and she found the shoebox. I came home from school, and my mom was standing there holding it, and she said, Hey, mister, I found your treasure. And I never liked the way she phrased that, you know, because that made me sound like the world's lamest pirate. Like, his treasure chest is 2 cigarettes and a woman's magazine. And my dad came home from work, and my mom told my dad that she had cleaned under my bed and found a shoebox with 2 cigarettes and a Cosmopolitan, which prompted my dad to ask, how does John know how to make a Cosmopolitan?
Wow.
I'm trying to eat better. I was out to lunch with a friend, and I got a chicken sandwich. And the waitress said to me, oh, you're getting a chicken sandwich. Well, that comes with a choice of either salad or fries. Those were the choices, salad or fries, the 2 most different foods in the universe. That's like saying, what kind of day do you want to have? Do you want to be active and go to the bathroom or stuff, or do you want to lay on the floor moaning? Oh, you're getting a chicken sandwich? Well, with that, you can either go for a jog or smoke crack cocaine. Oh, huh, well, if I got a plate of crack for the table, would you have some? You'd have crack
Wow.
if I got a plate of crack? Yeah, okay, yeah, we'll take an order of crack. Sometimes, when people order fries, they act like it's a little adventure. They'll be like, should we get a plate of fries for the table? Should we do it? Should we share some fries? They gotta make sure that everyone's on board with it. It's like, if I get fries, you'll have a couple, right? If I get fries for the table, I know you'll have fries if I get fries. Should we do it? Yeah, let's be bad. Come on, let's do it. All right, we're gonna take a plate of fries. It's like a group of couples agreeing to do ecstasy together.
I don't know if I've seen that.
I have a girlfriend now, myself, which is weird because I'm probably gay based on the way I act and behave and
Wow.
have walked and talked for 28 years. I think I was supposed to be gay. I think like in heaven they built like 3/4 of a gay person and then they forgot to flip the final switch and they just sent me out and it was like, you marked that one gay, right? And it was like, oh no, was I supposed to? And they were like, oh man, well this will be a very interesting person. This will be a very silly person. I was definitely gay when I was a little boy. A lot of little boys are gay, you know? They're very flowy and they have hard opinions on things. I don't mean that I was a sexually active gay man when I was a little boy. That's not what I mean. When I was a little boy, I was more like a 67-year-old gay man that's kind of over it sexually, you know? I was just like an old queen. I would come out to the recess yard and be like, everyone get out of my way. I just want to sit here and feed my birds. The gym teacher would tell me to play kickball, and I'd be like, you want me to do what? Real quick, this happened pretty recently. I was in a restaurant near here in the West Village, and I was at the urinal, and an old gay man came in the bathroom with a walker like this, and he said this to me. He went, I'm either having a drink or I have to pee. You're living the golden years, kid, not me. Like, he spoke in rhymes. It was crazy. It was such a weird interaction that I wasn't sure if it actually happened. I came out of the bathroom, and I asked my girlfriend, I was like, did you see, like, an old man follow me in the bathroom? And she was like, John, that bathroom's been closed for 40 years.
Oh.
Whoa!
Oh.
Whoa!
Okay, well, that's where we're cutting off. That was pretty good. Definitely, this is much more standard stand-up comedian as opposed to Bo Burnham, at least in terms of format. Not like we don't have any songs, don't have any mime, or any of that weird stuff. This was just straight up comedy. But that's fine. I don't mind doing just pure stand-up, and he was pretty good. He seems pretty likable, and his jokes were pretty amusing. Had me laughing at a pretty decent rate, and yeah, good stuff. I mean, some rather fun observations here, and I mean, trying to think of standout moments. I guess there really aren't that many for me, but it just was consistently pretty at a pretty good level. There wasn't much that really just like, oh, I'm gonna remember that, but I was entertained. Let's just say that it was good. Definitely a good first half of a special, and I look forward to watching the rest. Should be pretty fun. Anyway, not really anything else to say. Hope you enjoyed the reaction. Let me know if you did, and see you in the next one.